Thank you so much for joining me again on the podcast. My guest today, so inspired. It's Chef Ahu, and she is a Turkish native that went through so many personal challenges to start a family-oriented restaurant, and she's now on the island of Oahu, Honolulu to be exact, in Hawaii. And it's all about the flavors and the culture that she's brought together and working with family and cooking with her mother and all the early influences that have been healing to her in so many ways. She went through so many personal challenges with immigration and even depression and PTSD, and now she has this restaurant and the vision came to life, and it's even more than what she had hoped for. And we talk about so much about what it takes to start a restaurant and be inspired and to deliver amazing experiences to guests and then have them so appreciate those experiences that word just spreads and a business becomes successful. So you're not going to want to miss this episode. If you're thinking about starting a restaurant, and so many of us start thinking, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if we could do this? You should check out our Restaurant Rockstars Academy, because it's really everything you need to know in order to start that restaurant and run it profitably and successfully, as well as train your team in all aspects of running your business. So that's available at restaurantrockstars.com. It's the Academy. So thank you so much. Now, on with the episode.
You're tuned in to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. Powerful ideas to rock your restaurant. Here's your host, Roger Bodwin.
Listen, from one restaurateur to another, and I hope you GMs out there listening as well are paying attention. You know, marketing should never be an experiment. Oh, I tried this or I tried that. No, any of your valuable dollars that you spend on marketing should absolutely be trackable. You should know exactly where the business is coming from and that it's driving return on your investment. You spend a certain amount of money, you want to make far more money in return from that marketing, if you can track it. So pay attention. My friend Dyson runs a business called the Birthday Club, and his program is done for you because we know that everybody dines out on their birthday. It's a tradition. It's a celebration. But not only do they not come in by themselves, they bring many friends with them. They usually have free spending and large check averages. It's very profitable business. So why leave it to chance? Why let your competitors get all the birthday business? So again, the Birthday Club is a done-for-you program. All you have to do is check out www.jointhebirthdayclub.com/birthdayrockstar. It's a great program. If I still owned and operated restaurants today after decades, it's something I would definitely be doing, but it's worth checking out. So check it out. Jointhebirthdayclub.com/birthdayrockstar. The busiest time of the year is coming. Is your staff ready for the holiday rush? Well, this year, give your team the gift of Pop Menu AI Answering, a simple solution for phones ringing off the hook. AI Answering handles calls 24/7, 365 days a year, so your staff can focus on in-person guests. Customize your greetings and responses, answer common questions, promote specials and events, and send follow-up links to ordering and reservations. AI Answering handles it all while escalating more complex conversations back to your team. Now, never miss another tasty revenue opportunity. Pop Menu is the marketing technology platform designed to make growing your restaurant easy. Discover more AI restaurant tools that turn your to-do list into an already done list. Request a demo today, and my listeners for a limited time will get $100 off their first month, plus lock in one unchanging monthly rate. Go now to popmenu.com/rockstars. Again, get $100 off your first month at popmenu.com/rockstars. Hello, Chef. How are you? And welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Roger. I'm very happy to be invited to your show.
Well, I'm really happy to introduce our audience to you because you have a very interesting and very inspired story. And why don't you take us back? You are originally from Turkey, and
Yes.
that's a really cultural country, and food is very important there. And you grew up as a young person cooking, and you had some early inspirations there. So take us back to your childhood and cooking, and then take us to present day.
Culturally, in Turkey, it is still like this too. We cook at home the most. You know, we go out, but cooking at home is a very integral and important part of our culture. And I grew up cooking with my mother, with my grandmothers, even my grandfathers. We used to go fishing together, and we used to bring the fish from Mediterranean, clean it together, and cook it for our family. So cooking just connects me with my senses, with my cherished moments in my life, with my past.
That's a beautiful story. Now, you immigrated to America in what year? Now, you're currently on the island of Hawaii here in the United States. What year would that have been when you first came to the United States?
Yes, I believe it was 2002. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it was about 20 something years ago. I came to US. And the reason why I came to US was just go to school. I didn't even immigrate at that time. I was a student.
I see. Thank you.
And then I study animation and visual effects because I'm an artist. And I thought, creating a story, creating an art would be my calling at that time. And as I was studying animation and visual effects, my interest started to shift more to psychology. And I also study psychology. And I was hoping to create my own art therapy. That was kind of where I was going in my life.
Oh, okay.
Until I start to get challenged by immigration system of United States of America as an immigrant. So when I start to decide to live here and establish my life here, and at that time it was a long time. I was already here over 6 years. It became very difficult for me to the point. Just briefly explain you what happened to me was when what I learned from my great attorney who helped me in this miserable journey. I'm really grateful to him because he was a great person to help me. He informed me what happens is once one immigration officers decide about a person, other immigration officers doesn't change. So this is going to be challenging for us to change, for you to establish life here. However, you have every right to do it, and they made a wrong decision. So we will change this. You have right to change this, but it will take a while. But I didn't realize it will take over 10 years.
Oh my goodness, who knew?
Yeah. Yes, it was a long, challenging time. And during that time, I received papers telling me, leave the country in 30 days or we will come and arrest you. It was kind of really scary for me because I have no criminal record. And just thinking about like some people are coming after me and arresting me and taking me in places that I have never been before. It just this idea started to create anxiety, and eventually anxiety developed into depression.
Yes.
And depression developed into PTSD.
Wow.
And when I was having these times, I was living in San Francisco and I was still going to school. And when I met with my husband, he told me, because he researched about my city and where I was from, which is called Mersin in Turkey. He said, Honolulu just looks like your city. You gotta come and check this out. It looks so beautiful, kind of like a Mediterranean coast, warm weather, similar products grow in Honolulu, just like in your city. So it really captured my attention, and I visited Honolulu with him. And the moment I step out from the airplane, I remember that day still very vividly. I just felt something very different, almost like something hugged me in the air. Like I felt like I belonged to be here. It was a powerful spiritual connection I had with the island at that time. And that is when I decided to stay. But however, my emotional situation was deteriorating at that time through my immigration challenges. And this is when my psychiatrist gave me, heavy medications and all this stuff. This is when my mom stepped in and she said, you are not going to live your life like this. I'm coming there, okay? And she literally came here with luggage full of spices, food I love to eat, food we used to, cook together, just the ingredients, not the food itself, but the ingredients. She brought everything. And she started cooking in my kitchen, and that is when I would call my colors of life starts to change. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the scents of the food, um, the flavors of aromas coming from my kitchen through my mom's cooking, and start cooking with my mother, start my healing process. It became very therapeutical for me. And this is when I decided I need to share this food with people of Hawaii, you know, and my mom was always a chef in her heart. She was cooking for our families, my friends, my school. Um, and I thought there would be nothing better for her to do this finally professionally in a professional platform. And that will be my gift to her as well. And this is also what I love to do. So it evolved to that point. You know, we start cooking our own kitchen, start sharing our food with our neighbors. And one of our neighbor gave us this idea, like just go out and do this at the farmers market here. People will adore this food, you know. And she actually gave me that idea. And what is funny was I and my mom were going farmers markets so much to pick up ingredients all the time. So we already knew almost everyone in the farmers market. So when we applied to be part of it, we were welcomed we were just welcomed. And that was a very joyful moment, which later I learned it was actually very hard to get in. But for us, it was just one simple application form because we were very familiar with the farmers, with the people who are there. And this is how we started. We started the farmers market. We started with just one simple tent, not even a food truck. And then one tent became two tent became three tent became four tent.
Wow.
And, you know, two team member became 16 members, 16 member became 14 team member. And you were like, you know what, I think we need a restaurant space. This is not sustainable here, like to open this whole operation in the farmers market and closing, sanitizing every single equipment, going back to commercial kitchen we were working at. It became very difficult operation. And this is when I started look for places to create my restaurant. And in Hawaii, it is quite challenging to open a small business, to be honest. We also went through those challenges, you know, not having enough capital. We had to go through SBA loan, even use personal loans to able to open our business. Those parts were also very stressful at the beginning, because each time you take a step forward to, you know, grow your business, and you don't want any investors involved, other people involved, because to me it had to be mine and my mother's place. You know, I didn't want anybody else to attach it with our business because I thought it wouldn't be special anymore. You know, we had a lot of people offered us help. Of course, they wanted to be part of our business, but I completely rejected all of it. And I said, you know, we are just going to do it ourselves. And luckily, we were able to get SBA loan. We qualified to get it. But I was still having immigration problems at this time. And even though I was approved for SBA loan couldn't give me the money because I didn't have my green card.
Oh, yes, that of course. And you were well into the process by that point, right? Trying to apply for
Yes,
this loan and giving them
it was very,
documentation and working with them. And then all of a sudden, after all this time and effort, it's like, okay, where's
yes,
your green card? Okay. What happened next?
yes. So
Wow.
it was quite traumatizing because we
Uh-huh.
were approved for everything. I
Yes.
found my dream place and I already signed on a lease for it. And it's a long lease. Uh, and I was told by SBA that I am approved for the loan to build my place. And then I received the word saying that, oh, they need to have a copy of my green card. And that was quite horrifying moment of my life
Oh,
because I was like,
yes. The
I
dream is right
committed
there.
this, I committed the lease. I
Yeah.
cannot walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband was already looking for bankrupt attorneys because he said, there is no way if they don't give us the SBA loan. We do not have the funds to open this place.
Of course.
So it was very stressful. This is when my attorney stepped in and he said, you know what? Okay, this is too much mentally for you, physically for you, because I was getting very sick.
Mm-hmm. The stress and all that.
Yeah. Yes. It was making me very sick. Mm-hmm. And he said, my husband, who is a US citizen, since they don't consider Ahu as a human being, she has absolutely no rights as a human being. She doesn't exist on the paper. You will be suing US government for not getting back to you guys. So that was the solution he found. And my husband sued US government immigration.
No kidding. Wow.
Yes, with my attorney.
Yes.
And this is when we heard the word from them. Finally, after 10 something years, almost 11 years.
Unbelievable.
They called us to their office. At least I received the apology. I didn't receive any compensation for my attorney fees or anything like that, but at least I received that simple apology that we are sorry we made a mistake. And that meant a lot to me at that time, because I felt like all my resentment was gone. And I got my green card. And I just ran to SBA and I showed them, gave them my green card. So they had a copy of my green card and they approved my loan. And this is when we started to build my restaurant, because we realized at that time we cannot afford a restaurant in Honolulu. So we had to get a place with nothing in it. When I mean nothing in it, our place didn't even have walls, no plumbing, no electrical, no fire alarm, no fire suppression.
Wow.
And my husband, who is a marine engineer, he quit from his job to build the place with my dad, who is also an engineer. So we literally not only cooking here as chefs, but we also as a family built this restaurant from nothing.
That's an amazing story. And that's a testament to persistence and belief in that dream and the power of family and the power of your culture and that driving force of we have something really special that the people are going to love and nothing's going to stop us. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, that was pretty much it.
Beautiful.
And it was very emotional at that time. But now when I think back, it is quite beautiful story because I design everything. I texture my own walls. I paint my walls. I stain my own tables. My dad built all my furniture. Even my lighting. My lighting is built by my dad because we had no money for lighting. And I was so sad. I told my dad, we cannot buy lighting. How we are going to do this? And he asked me, what do you want as a lighting? And I told him that I want chandeliers like in Hagia Sophia, which is quite expensive, right? And then he came up with this beautiful chandelier idea.
I can see them. They really are. And he handcrafted those? Your father built those?
Yes, from plywood. Yes.
Unbelievable. Talented family you have.
Yes, I do have. And that is also what I was going to talk about it.
Please.
It wasn't just me. It is a sport from my family. It's my connection with my family built this whole place. I can not take the credit for this whole thing. My husband, my dad, my mom, my siblings, and some of my family members, friends, they helped me, in the way. We couldn't afford the signage, they asked me $60,000 for my signage. And how we are going to afford with our little SBA loan for a signage that's going to cost us $60,000. So my dad called his friends in Turkey and said, this is the design my daughter designed. I designed my signage.
Yeah.
Can you build this and send it here? And his friend is, of course. And we just paid him $800. And he built it, he sent it, my husband and my dad installed my signage. So there are things like that happening in the way. This is just one of many examples how much money we saved, So
there's a lesson in this to anyone listening, because you can do things if you are creative and resourceful without spending a lot of money on things and reaching out to others who can help and who have knowledge and expertise in doing certain things. But that's just it. As a small business owner, you have to do these things, not only to
You
start your
have to.
business, but just to be smart about how you run it. To be successful, you can't just be writing checks all day saying, I need this. Okay, here you go. It's like
No, absolutely,
that's wonderful.
absolutely.
Thank you.
It is. It was a lot of work,
Yes.
but it was a happy work because we were accomplishing every day building this place, and it was evolving into
Yes.
this,
So
into my
gratifying.
vision. And the day it ended, the whole construction ended, and I look at my place, and it was beautiful than my vision
You
because
couldn't
it
believe
has
it, right? So it went
no,
beyond your initial vision. It just kept taking on a life of its own, but it still fed your soul and it spoke to you on a higher level, but it was authentic to your original dream, but
yes,
even more so, I'm hearing. Is that
yes,
right?
and absolutely. And I had a lot
Yeah.
of challenges, during that process. One day, especially, sometimes as much as it is beautiful to work with your family, sometimes it can be very challenging, right? Because I and my husband were working here 2 long hours, sometimes
Oh,
14
yes.
hours a day,
Hmm.
6, 7 days a week,
That's your
right?
life
To
now.
build this
Yeah.
place.
Yes.
And we had moments like we start to throw tools at each other, We were like, I hate you, like,
That's normal. Yeah.
yes, this happened too. It wasn't like all beautiful and colorful. It was moments of these in the times of building such stressful project. So I just want to be honest with people about these things. It wasn't just happy. It was very, very stressful at the same time. And we had moments like I was crying at the door when I was halfway done, and I was thinking like how I am gonna make this work with this much money. Because I went back to SB and they told me we already gave you more than you worth. We cannot give you any more money until the day you turn your key, open your restaurant, and then we see you open your restaurant and maybe we can give you money.
Start making
And
money
this,
and proving that the concept works.
yes, exactly. So I was thinking like crying and thinking,
Yeah.
I guess in the middle of the construction, we are going to bankrupt, thinking like that. And, sometimes just funny, but life brings you these beautiful people that you don't even know. This lady stepped into my restaurant. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her.
Yes.
She's like, why are you crying like this? She hugged me with everything she had. And she said, I see the voices, happy voices here. Keep going, keep doing this. This is coming, this is evolving. I had moments like that too from people who I don't even know. They just come and hug me. And I guess they have been watching us, building this place.
Yes.
And she just spoke in, and now I and her are very good friends,
Wonderful.
And she's much older lady than me. She's a very sweet lady. She still walks by every week with her dog, and we talk about life and all those things and hug each other. Also, restaurant gave me these relationships too that very precious.
Yes, the guests or the customers, those people
Absolutely,
are your friends now. It becomes family, and extended family are the people that appreciate what
absolutely.
you're doing.
And that is the most beautiful part of my work.
How fulfilling.
Creating these relationships. And same thing with my team. We started, as I told you, with 2 team members. Now I have 80 team members.
80. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And
That's
all of
quite an
them,
operation.
we love each other. We know each other. They support me, I support them. It is not just an employee and employee relationship. It is a lot more than that. It is a lifetime relationship I try to establish with my team. We ask each other how we are doing. If we see them sad, we support them. It is a special relationship. Even some of them, like they were gonna leave me because of their life goals, and I did everything I can to support them. And even though it is sad for me because I lost them,
yes,
but to me it is very, very precious to see them growing, and that also created life-lasting relationship between I and them. me helping them to get them where they want to get. Like they are helping me. They help me every day to serve my guests in the way I want them to serve. It is a very important relationship we have with our team. And I think that is what sets us apart. I can easily tell that. Because I work with team members, they care. They care. They absolutely care. And because they care, everything comes out much better.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, even supporting others. And I can understand that. That happened when I ran restaurants also. And when I owned restaurants, it's like you would develop someone who would spend years with you. They become part of your family, but then they have big dreams too. And sometimes it's just natural for them to move on. And even though they were really valuable to you, working for you as a team member, you want to see them do well. You want to support them and help them get to their dreams when your dreams have come true. And that's just a beautiful way of how it should work. And then you find somebody new and then you take them in and you see what they can do. And it's a constantly evolving process where some people stay a long time and some people stay a short time, but they all make their unique contributions to what you're doing. And if they're really good at what they do, then you've benefited from their time in your restaurant and you want to see them continue to succeed, even if they choose to move on. So yeah, that's just wonderful. It's got to be so gratifying and fulfilling to have achieved, your dreams. And wow, 80 people, that's very big.
That is quite big. Yes. For a square footage of my restaurant, it is a big operation. Yeah.
How many seats do you have now, Ahu?
We can sit up to 125 with our outdoor area.
Oh, nice.
With just squeezing a lot. We started with only seating 60. Mm-hmm. Then with COVID, we took over our outdoor area as well. And then that doubled our space. But it didn't double my kitchen space. So it is challenging sometimes.
Yeah, tight kitchen, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do have for 60 seats, I had an excellent kitchen size,
Yes.
Very comfortable one.
And then you doubled.
Yes. Wow. And it was a COVID. There is another story with me, It felt like life was like, so I jump over one challenge and I feel great. I done this, I got my green card, second challenge. I built my restaurant. I done this. And then the COVID came, right? We literally opened in the time of when COVID started. And I didn't want to open up because of my parents are in their 60s. And I was quite worried about their well-being. I was thinking like, what if something happens to them?
Sure.
Because we want to open this restaurant and they get COVID and they die. Like, how am I going to live with this? So that was very challenging until, my husband came to us. He's engineer and he's very good with numbers. He's like, okay, you have about 16, 17 days to think about it. And after that, you just have to leave the key to the landlord and bankrupt. So you guys, I respect whatever decision you guys make, but this is this condition, right?
Yes.
And my parents are, no, you're crazy. You're opening this. We are doing this, And I'm like, even me open it, like nobody probably come because who want to be in a restaurant environment, and then in the midst of COVID. But, my miracle happened again, It was a miracle. We opened the door, people keep coming. We were booked 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, 2 months. And it was quite amazing. It was unbelievable.
Did it help that your location was ideal and it was highly visible? Or would you say most people found you because other people told them about it and it was a word of mouth type of marketing? Like, how did people originally find you? Yeah. Okay.
It was both. I think it was mainly the farmers market.
Oh, right. People followed you. Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because even our social media was over at the time, 25 or 30,000 followers. So we had a lot of followers through my mom's food.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, my mom's food is very it's a magical food. Whatever she does, And she always tells me, it's not just food, Ahu, okay?
Yeah.
It is something else she puts in it. It is different. It is a different approach. And I am a self-taught chef. I learned most of things from my mom.
Hmm.
And sometimes I am quite grateful I went to art school and psychology school versus culinary school because I have my own way and I use those skills every day, and I am applying art to plating every single day. I'm applying art to my ambience design every day. And psychology really helps me to develop very positive relationship with my guests and team members. Um, it's almost funny. I feel like all those history of mine led me to this moment to be successful. It was necessary ingredients like my past and my challenges I went through was truly necessary ingredients to make me become what I become today. And I see them as my gifts now. At that time
Hardship.
it was very, yes,
In
it
so
was
many
very
ways.
challenging.
Oh, yeah.
So many ways. Yes.
And now you can appreciate it so much more because when you were going through the depths of difficulty, and we've all had our own personal challenges in life, but when we're in those really difficult moments, it's so hard to see so far ahead of what could be. But then when it starts to happen, you almost don't believe it. And then when it actually comes true and you look back on those times, you would say to yourself, I needed those times to make me stronger, to give me courage and perseverance to keep going. And if I didn't develop those skills and that approach, this may never have happened. So there's so much appreciation I'm hearing from you based on all you went
Yes.
through. But you were also supported and able to share all this with your family, and they helped you through these challenges, and it made you a stronger person. And you leaned on them and they leaned on you, and now look what you have to show for it. I think this is just a wonderful
Yes,
story.
it was very
Yeah.
stressful because, my parents put all their retirement they had. My husband put all his retirement. We risked our home, that we were living with our pets. If we would be homeless, we would lose our home. Like we were just thinking, who's gonna accept us with this many pets? We rescued 4 cats, one dog. So we were like, nobody is gonna let us rent their home, with this many pets. We just have to go back. We have to find a farm to live. So it was stressful in those perspectives, and each time we take it was a leap of faith. We literally took a leap of faith. We believed in our craft and what we do, and we were resilient when the challenges came
You
to
know,
us.
I can totally relate to what you're saying because, many of my audience know that just before the pandemic, I bought another restaurant with my wife, and we went through all the challenges that our listeners and yourself have gone through. And those 2 years, you can't imagine thinking back on it, how difficult it was. And will there anything be in the future that difficult? But just like you, we pledged our home and we had 2 dogs and 2 cats and all the pets. And we're thinking, wow, all of a sudden everything goes upside down and it's no longer working. And it's like our house is on the line and what's going to happen? And then it was divine intervention and all this amazing things started to happen that you could not have foreseen that saved our business, probably helped save your business, and saved a lot of our listeners' businesses as well, even though the pandemic really devastated our industry in so many ways. And we obviously feel for
Absolutely.
those that didn't make it and didn't survive. But you're absolutely right about that. But now you're so much stronger for it. And you can look back on those times and say, I learned from this and I learned from that. And now I'm just getting stronger every day. And nothing is going to stop me from fulfilling that dream and continuing to serve my guests this amazing food. Let's talk about the food now, Ahu. I mean, there's something really special I'm
Yes.
hearing about the flavors and the spices and what makes it so incredible that world cultures are adopting this as saying, this is amazing, because every
I
food
think,
and cuisine is different. But tell us about yours.
yes, definitely. I think when you say Turkish cuisine, you're really talking about the East and West is meeting with each other. And it has such historical roots, such as, it goes thousand of years
Okay. Yeah.
back. and it traces the Hittites, Byzantine Empire,
Hmm.
Ottoman heritage, um, and the region is so rich. It's we are talking about old Mesopotamia,
I
It's just
studied that when
such,
I was in a young person in middle school. It's like they used to call it the
yes.
Fertile Crescent between the Tigris and the
So
Euphrates rivers and all that kind of stuff.
yes, in a
I
way, the
remember.
Turkish people was lucky to have that
Yeah.
region,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Hmm.
establish civilization in that region because they adapted all those great cultures,
Wow.
heritage within,
Yeah. Yeah.
history.
Of course.
And also, it is such a fertile land. Today, Turkey grows pretty much anything you can imagine, olives, olive oil,
Mm-hmm.
exotic fruits like papaya, from one of the best tomatoes. We do the most sun-dried tomatoes in the world than anybody else. We do have Turkish pistachio, Antep pistachio, which is an amazing flavor itself. We do grow the most hazelnuts, the most delicious one. So it is just such a fertile land.
Are you
So
able to
when you have
find all
a
this food in Hawaii? Do you import many things from Turkey? How does all
Yes,
that work?
absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So it is challenging because it makes it very expensive.
I would think so. Yes.
Yes, because anytime you ship anything, it's just in Hawaii, shipping in Hawaii is always different
Mhm.
rate. So it makes some even simple ingredients that, we take granted in back home, it's just expensive to have it here. However, we have to use those to make authentic Turkish food,
Of course.
I
Yes.
cannot just replace them with certain things. Then it doesn't become the real Turkish food I grew up eating. But we do use a lot of local farmers, most of our produce comes from local farmers. So, which in that perspective, we do use a lot of local ingredients
Mhm.
by applying our techniques and aromas and flavors into food. We don't have anything like infusion, like Hawaiian infusion, like that. But we still use ingredients from where we are from and support local farmers and vendors
Are you
as well.
cooking the same dishes that you grew up with? Does the menu change very often? Obviously,
Absolutely.
you mentioned earlier your mother is so creative and she keeps coming up with all these new
Yes.
dishes. How often does the menu change, or does it at all?
So we do have some classics in the menu. We
Mm.
call classics. They never change because
Hmm.
in about 7 years, 8 years of having this place, I mean, through with Farmers Market total, we have the place 3 years, but with Farmers Market, we have been open about 8 years, and we learn like certain things we can never change them because they are so iconic. People expect that when they come in, they want to eat that, and you cannot take that away from your guests because they develop a relationship with that thing, and they expect to find that here. However, we do have it also seasonal approach. We do have a part of the menu change seasonally. So we do have both. We do have certain items, they are just very iconic and classic.
And
We don't
your
touch
guests
them.
love those items. It's like if you ever took them
Yes,
off the menu, they would be really upset with you.
that happened to me. That
Yeah.
happened to me. And the guests literally walked out from my restaurant. They were that emotional about this. And
Wow.
this is true,
Uh-huh.
food
For good
makes
reason.
us emotional.
Yeah.
Food makes us emotional. It is just the way it is. Um, we when we make the guests wait in the line too long sometime, even though they are walking guests, they get hangry, they get emotional about the situation. It's just part of the business.
It
You have
is.
to also,
Yeah.
as much as we deal with beautiful guests, happy guests, we also sometimes have to deal with angry guests.
Oh, we all have been there. Yes.
Yes, this happens too. This is part of our job to comfort them, and as long as they are respectful,
Thank you.
it's our
That's
job.
very important.
Yes, it's our job to make them comfortable and calm again and help them accommodate them. uh, but sometimes they can be disrespectful, and that's when we have a security. Yeah, that's one other nice place about my places. We have our building security, and also we are in Ward Village. We have a Ward Village security. So we are lucky to have that. Not every restaurant has that luck, but we have security that can come and help us out in
Good,
those
good, good, good.
situations, which doesn't happen often, though. I mean, I think in my own whole 3 year here, it happened maybe once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our guests are very lovely, lovely people.
If you have first-time guests that walk in the door, maybe they heard about it, maybe they saw you from the street and they come in, is it very difficult for them to know what they should order or what they really will enjoy? Do you explain, say, Turkish cuisine in the
Yes,
menu, or do your staff must
absolutely.
be very knowledgeable and say, this is this and this is this, and we recommend that, and my favorite is this, and try this, you'll love it. Is it all of those things?
So part of our training program is long,
Mm-hmm.
and we tell this to all our team members.
Yes.
And we mainly hire hostesses and bussers before they become servers versus even hiring really experienced servers.
Yes. Move them
The
up. Yep.
reason the reason behind that is this way they understand the operation and they understand the
Smart.
food.
Yes.
They understand to carry food, clean the tables, reset tables, approach guests when they become hostesses. They understand the system, and let's say our hostess is sick, our server can be a hostess, right? If our busser is sick, our server know how to do bussing job because they done that. They step up from that. And I think that really helps us in the training process.
Absolutely
And
great.
sometimes we do hire experienced people. They accept to start from start. Humble people. They say, of course, I love to learn how you guys do things, and I like to support that system. This happens to not often, but this happens to. Same with the bar too. Most of our bartenders used to be our bussers or hostesses, and I completely taught them the whole bar program. I create my own bar program here. So I create all my cocktails here. So we train them into that, because I taught all these to myself and I didn't go school for it. I didn't take education for it. And I'm pretty good about it because I think as long as you want to learn about it, you will learn. It is not like I'm teaching them a brain surgery. It is pretty much, couple hundred liqueurs and spirits and wine they need to learn. And if they want to learn, it is not that difficult to learn.
Is any
And
of
they can
that,
taste it.
Ahu, are any of the specialty cocktails you've created and the liquors and the spirits you're speaking of, or even the wines, are any of those traditional to Turkey, or are they just selected to accompany and complement the food and the flavors?
So most of our wines and beer are old words. They are selected specially to complement the food.
Mm-hmm.
Because old world flavors like Italian wine, Spanish wine, Greek wines, Turkish wines, they are truly pairing with what I do because it's a Mediterranean. They are coming from the Mediterranean approach. And this is what I usually like to carry, and I mostly carry, and I explain the guests. Sometimes it is not familiar for them, and I explain them, the reason I carry this because it's going to pair much better with the food. And I think pairing is a form of art.
It is.
Same with the beer too. We have beer from couple 1,000-year-old breweries, and that pairs with my food much better than some new world beers that people are used to drinking every single, more often than what I carry. But that approach at the beginning backfired a little bit, but the more we explain and educate our guests, the more they understand about this. It became now that's what they want, when they come here. And our servers are very trained about this to explain them this and the food, because half of my menu is written in Turkish. And when sometimes people read about it, they don't know what they are reading about it, right? It's like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And we give the guest and the server that time to explain and walk them through in the menu and beverage program.
Let me ask you some about entertainment. I'm curious because I've always wanted to go to Istanbul. You know, I have these visions of the minarets and the Blue Mosque and all the things I've read and seen and just the culture. I've been to Greece a couple of times, which I really loved. Okay, thank you. You're showing us the ambiance. It's beautiful. Wow.
I'm gonna go to the back
Yes,
because
yes, I
now
love this.
they are gonna come, and I just don't want them to
Okay.
disrupt us.
That is a big restaurant and
Yeah. Yes, it's a big
it's well
restaurant now. I'm
done.
in the
It's
back.
very well done, Ahu.
Yes. Thank you.
Do you play native Turkish music for sound? Do you bring in dancing or any entertainment at all that's native to your culture?
So we don't do any dancing like that, anything like that. We don't have a stage for it.
Hmm.
And I think if we are gonna do dancing, it should be artistic. So according to those things artistic, you want to have a stage for it. I don't want people like dancing around the tables.
Yeah,
I
right,
don't
right.
think it
Okay.
is my concept. So
Yeah.
so we don't have a place for a stage. So this is the reason why we decided not to do such thing. However, what I do is I myself love history so much, and
I always did as well.
I love historical places, and Turkey is abundant with history and historical places. From Greek times to Roman times, from
Uh-huh.
Byzantine times to Ottoman time, Hittite time. I don't know how am I pronouncing that right or not,
Yes. Oh, I
but it
remember all
goes
these
back.
things
It
learning. I
goes
mean, a
back
long time ago.
Sumerians. It goes back
Yeah.
so many years back in
Uh-huh.
Turkey. So what I decided was to show people part of this because it's what I love as well. So I project evening time. I have a very beautiful big concrete wall. I plaster
Yes.
kind of. I use as a screen,
Mm-hmm.
and I project those historical places of Turkey. And when people look at those, they are like, oh my gosh, this is Turkey. So then they get an idea of what Turkey is about. Because Turkey doesn't have a necessarily positive look in the world because of our terrible leaders. Um, we just never really had a really good leader that presents Turkey like the creator of Turkey, which is the Atatürk. He was very modern, and he want Turkey to um, become, away from that conservative ideas and thoughts. He wanted to create this very democratic place for Turkey, and this is how he established Turkey. However, Turkey never had good leaders after him, and
Mm.
it just started to so we don't really have a really the best outlook, when it comes to the world view of politics and stuff because of our leaders. And I think that makes many people hesitate to visit Turkey. But Turkish people are not everybody is like our leaders, even though it looks like we select them, it is a lot more than that, now we do have a dictator basically, running the country, has been in power over 20 years, which he shouldn't be there more than 8 years. But he keep changing the rules so he can stay in power. And he's pretending he's elected. He's not. He's in power because he uses different methods and systems to stay in power, is unfortunately. And he pretends like we elected him. And that's not true.
Yeah,
Some
I
people
don't
just
think the
don't go away.
politics. I don't think the politics are why, obviously, they're not why people come into your restaurants, but I really love what you said about projecting the images of the history and the culture on the wall
Yes.
because it really brings your experience to life. It's not just the decorations, it's
Yes.
the flavors, the sounds, the smells, but then there is
No.
the history and where all this started, like right there. And suddenly you feel a
Yes.
part of it. You feel like you're transported to another place, even though you're still in Hawaii.
Absolutely.
I love
And
that.
this is what I was gonna tell you about
Yeah.
that too. What sets us apart
Hmm.
is we don't just serve food and good customer service. We do transport them to Turkey. And that is a part of important experience, I think, because
It is.
that is what I wanted to create when I designed my restaurant. I wanted to create this modern Turkish home. People come in and they feel like they are not in a commercial place anymore. they are actually in more like a home environment,
Mhm.
and that is the way I design the restaurant, and I project beautiful parts of Turkey to show people how beautiful Turkey is, despite of unfortunate political issues of Turkey.
Yeah.
It is really beautiful place to go and visit, and food
Yes.
is quite amazing.
Are you still, do you divide your time between still cooking in the kitchen and going out and meeting your guests and just being sort of the ambassador for your restaurant? Because you're a personality unto yourself. You've got a wonderful story and you've got so much history, and now you have so many friends that know you and appreciate the food. So it's sometimes hard to be stuck in the kitchen when you want to go say hello to this one and thank that one for coming in and, hey, how's your family? And just are you moving around and doing all those things
So
and managing the
my
team, and how does that go?
yes, my first year I couldn't do that, right? Because it was a
Yes.
lot of training
Hmm.
and setting, establishing my team.
Okay.
Now I am very, very fortunate, very blessed. I have a great team members. So if I'm going to the kitchen, I'm not going to kitchen cooking what we have in the menu anymore. I'm going into kitchen create something to bring something new. It is more like my job become more like the creative process of cooking.
That's the
Now,
art.
like
Yeah.
yes, now I am like, okay, this is a new season. So what we are gonna use in fall season, right? So I bring ingredients to my team and I say, okay, we have butternut squash, we have pumpkin, we have nutmeg, we have cinnamon. Now, hey, like now we are gonna focus on these farms. We are gonna feature these farms, feature these ingredients with our, what we are doing. So this is kind of seasonal thing. This happens every season, but also, sometimes I just come up with an idea and I want to serve that. And I create the station, I train my team, and we serve that. And that is exciting part of my work, because if I don't do it because everything is going well for me, I think the place doesn't grow. Um so, and I don't
That
feel
is.
creative, which is
Uh-huh.
part of me to be creative. I have to do something. So,
That's called balance in life. So you're surrounded by family, you're surrounded by guests that have become family, you're surrounded by the food and the culture. Do you have any spare time to do anything else? Your art, perhaps, the art that you used to do
I
before you really
do.
got into this. Do you do art still?
I do. I do. I still love to draw things.
Hmm.
And that really helps me because now I design plates that I want to serve food in certain way. And I will be working with local pottery artists
Oh,
to create my
wonderful.
plates.
Oh,
So I
that's
do things
great.
like, yes, I do things like that. And it's also very fun part of my project, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm like, um, plating is bringing colors together, bringing aromas together, creating a art composition. And when I do it and people love what I do, they say, oh my gosh, look at these colors in this plate, it's beautiful. It just, it touches my ego, I think, it
Oh, I
just makes me
understand that.
happy about myself. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this well. Like people love this. Like they take picture of it, they share it.
Hmm.
And it makes me happy. It's not just food again. However, food is the most important integral part of the subject in the plate. The ingredients, the flavor. But it is more than that, right? It is the aroma, it is the colors, the composition, and that is partially my artistic side
No
plays a big
question.
role in that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge part of every part of you in every piece of this restaurant, right down to
Yes,
the art and the
definitely.
psychology and the food and the cooking. It's like it's all combined to
Yes,
make a really wonderful experience. You've shared
yes.
tremendous with us today. Do you have any plans to grow beyond Istanbul, Hawaii?
So at this time, no, because I'm happy where I am at, and I just
Perfect.
wanna perfect what I have, which
Hmm.
is to me, of course, there is no such thing like perfection, but I wanna just do better before I move forward, and I have areas that I know that I wanna improve. Some people don't know these areas, but I know, oh, I think lacking here, I'm lacking here. And I think it's a great thing to able to criticize yourself and to go back and improve something that you are not proud of, you know. Not that I don't have anything that I'm not proud of, I say it wrong, but I'm just not as good yet, you know. I want to be better than that. So I want to get to that point, you know, like, and some of them are nothing even related with my food, you know. Like I want to cover all my tables with copper, you know. It's just silly, simple project that I want to do. And I think that's going to add to my ambience, more authenticity, you know.
I agree.
Like I want to do things like that, you know. Or I want to create a different art to my wall because I feel like that's going to bring more into my ambience. So see, some stuff like that too, not just necessarily the team or the food. Once I get to that point, yes, I do have simple different ideas. Not Istanbul, because I don't think I can create another Istanbul. This evolved to this point, this happened this way. Am I really gonna create this authentic place again? I don't think so. Like I need another me, another my mom, another of my dad.
I know,
another
right?
of another
Right.
of like
we can't duplicate ourselves to be somewhere else to do it all over again when you're so happy in what you're doing now.
But I
understand
can create but I can create something different in the similar concept with my team members that I know that I trust. Such as I want to have this special place where I can only serve 20 guests at a time. And I can pair with craft cocktails, the food and the cocktails, and maybe some wine. And I really just want to be doing this with my mother. So that's kind of my second project. We are not going to serve 300 people, 400 people, and holiday time 500 people, which is great.
Wow,
but I just want to serve very selective dishes, very little amount of people, so I can make it super artistically, that the way I want to do it.
Very intimate, small dinners for special people where you're interacting with the guests and you're cooking and presenting new things. And that's a beautiful part of it as well. Just these special tasting menus. Yeah, with the cocktails. And
yes, that's what I love to do, my next project. And wonderful. I have some products that I love serving and our guests adore. And I'm thinking maybe we can start packaging them and selling it. We may start doing that as well. So I have some little projects on the side thinking in the back of my mind like that. But I have priorities first. You know, I have to do this, do that before I can get to that point.
Well, you've been a very inspired guest on the podcast today, Ahu.
Thank you, Roger.
We've covered so much of the business, but you're so inspiring, not only to those people that have had or have a dream to open their own restaurant, or they're in the process of doing so, but those people that have been in the business a long time may get a fresh idea or perspective about the ambiance, about the food, about the service. You've covered all the bases here. The foundational elements of our business you've achieved, and you did it from the ground up, from scratch, surrounded by family. So I thank you so much for being on the podcast and for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate for inviting me. And I had a very lovely time. Thank you.
Well, thank you again. And thanks to our audience for tuning in. That was the Restaurant Rockstars podcast, and we can't wait to share this episode as well as all future episodes. So please stay tuned and stay well. Wow, Chef Ahu, what an inspired journey you've had that really began in Turkey, and you found this really beautiful spiritual place in Hawaii where you just felt instantly like this is where I belong. And then your mom and your family came over, and you've built an amazing, lasting family legacy in a successful restaurant featuring amazing foods that you grew up with. And you've introduced your culture and your traditions, and you have a very loyal following. So you've been a very inspired guest, and very much so to those who have a dream of their own to start their own restaurant. So thanks for being with us. Thank you to this week's sponsors. Thank you so much to our audience for tuning in. Can't wait to see you next time.
People go to restaurants for lots of reasons. For fun, celebration, for family, for lifestyle. What the customer doesn't know is the thousands of details it takes to run a great restaurant. This is a high-risk, high-fail business. It's hard to find great staff. Costs are rising and profits are disappearing. It's a treacherous road, and smart operators need a professional guide. I'm Roger. I've started many highly successful, high-profit restaurants that I've now sold for millions of dollars. I'm passionate about helping other owners and managers not just succeed, but knock it out of the park. I created a game-changing system, and it's filled with everything I've learned in over 20 years running super profitable, super fun restaurants. Everything from creating high-profit menu items and cost controls to staff training where your teams serve and sell, to marketing hooks, money-maximizing tips, and efficiencies across your operation. What does this mean to you? More money to invest in your restaurant, to hire a management team, time freedom, and peace of mind. You don't just want to run a restaurant. You want to dominate your competition and create a lasting legacy. Join the Academy and I'll show you how it's done.
Thanks for listening to the Restaurant Rockstars Podcast. For lots of great resources, head over to restaurantrockstars.com. See you next time.